think you got me? Make a move and we can see. Try to run, but the demolition has begun.
Alright. Okay. This is an interesting story time with me. Joining me, as always, it's a Shannon.
Hey.
We also have the adorable Bubby of the sparkly unicorn sparkles.
Hi.
And, hold on, okay, doors are locked, windows are locked, we're in a giant, I think, nuclear bomb shelter thing, and 50 miles beneath the surface, so I think you can say this safely. And we have the Mr. of Misters, the Mr. Studio Girl in a hot minute of Riku.
Hello.
Okay, so far I don't hear any screams, so we're finally safe. Anywho, today's whole story time with me, obviously, is the story I said I wouldn't do until Uni was finally here to sit down so I could do the video.
Oh, well, I'm sorry you've had to wait so long.
I think it's been about a year,
It's all my
but it's
fault.
whatever.
Oh my god, really? I'm the worst.
No, Shannon was like, no, we can't do the story until Uni's here. I was like, well, damn.
I'm
To be
so
honest,
the
I don't remember
worst.
this being happening. Like, it was so long ago, I don't remember.
I'm the worst.
No, you're not, Bubby. No, you're not. This is the story about how I met the lifelong friend that I've known since I was a child in the snow. Of Levi.
Oh, right. I remember now, okay.
Now, unlike every other story where it's kind of like a wacky situation about how I met them, Levi's is pretty straightforward. His parents knew Ivan and Ilyana. If you guys don't know who Ivan and Ilyana are, just think about how I got to meet him so early in my age limit of, I would say, 3, and you'd pretty much piece 2 and 2 together about who those people are. Nevertheless, though, I automatically did not know what to make of Levi because, you know, I'm 3 years old. What the hell do I know? Only thing I knew at 3 years old was don't walk outside, don't walk anywhere near Ivan and Ilyana, and always duck to the left if the bottle is aiming right. I'm not even joking. So, yes, it is. It is a horrible thing. Anywho, by the time I'm just meeting Levi, it's just like, bro, ¿qué? No, beat? We're trying to share food at 3 years old. That's basically how we start our friendship. It's just like I'm trying to share a broki, which is like a bread type dessert with food inside, and he was trying to share a beet with me.
I mean, the best friendships usually start around food. Or sharing things.
This is true. But I had no idea how I had a baroki in my hand because, for one, Ivan and Ilyana never fed me, and 2, I had no idea how it got in my hand. Then again, I'm 3 years old, so I don't really question shit.
Yeah, and you're a lot older, so you probably don't remember.
No, even to this day, I'm like, I still don't remember how that happened because I wasn't being fed. So how did I have the baroki in my hands? My tiny little baby hands. Anyway, though, after that, me and Levi kind of spent the entirety of our childhood hanging out together. Mostly around his house or my grandpa Cosmo's house. My house... Well, Shannon and Uni can tell you I have no real pleasant memories of my house, so...
Yeah, sadly.
Anywho, aside from all that stuff, the last time I got to see Levi before I turned 9 and my whole life changed forever was during the time my grandpa taught me something that has scarred my psyche for the rest of my life. Okay, Riku, he's muted right now, so he's gonna miss a few things. Well, not miss a few things, he just won't commentate for a while. I apologize. So, it's the night before the thing I do with my grandpa, and for the most part, it's going all naturally and whatnot, but then I hear that Levi's parents are trying to sell his brother off to an American family.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. So he's then just trying to make sure that he stays with his twin brother Lex, who we'll get to later, to then go on a whole expedition to America, where I don't see him again for quite a while. And by quite a while, I mean 3 years.
yeah, that's a...
So 3 years pass. I'm in the U.S. of A's for about 2 years. I have as much English speaking today as I do back then, which is kind of terrible. But I function, so it's whatever. No one can tell I'm not a non-American. So, the way I re-meet Levi is kind of the weirdest meetup I've ever had in my life. So I'm ditching school again, which no one can say that I did or didn't, because I am a master at making people not know where I am. And while I'm ditching to do some stuff, I'm at a local arcade, which for you privileged assholes of today, an arcade is where you go to play video games with quarters.
Arcades are so cool. I want them to be around more. Like, bring them back, please.
See, Uni knows what's up, because she's not a spoiled little fuckwit. Anywho, while I'm at the arcade and people think I'm still in school when actually I'm just bullshitting, I actually run into Levi and Lex in the same arcade, and I'm like, what? Dudes! I think that stuff I found in the backyard is finally kicking in. By this point in time, I was starting to experiment with marijuana, which has led me to be a proponent of the pro-marijuana movement. That's a story for another day, kids. Anywho, when I'm trying to meet up with them, they're acting all skittish and scared because I'm like, hey guys, I haven't seen you in what, 3 years? How's it going? How you doing? You will not believe the most horrifying thing I've done. And they're just looking at me with sheepish eyes, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Why are they just looking at me like this? And I don't understand what's going on until they're just leaving the arcade to walk into a big-ass limousine.
Oh.
I didn't know this at the time, but when I met up with him when we were older, Levi and Lex got sold off to be adopted by a rich family. Have no idea which family, because the last name keeps changing to kind of avoid the media. I have no idea why. Anywho, by the time we're now meeting up when we're older, it's when it's... Oh God, what wedding was it? I know it wasn't Malcolm's wedding, because Malcolm's wedding was shit. I know it wasn't... No, Julie's wedding was when she found Stacy, and Stacy's a bitch. It wasn't Dana's wedding. Whose wedding was it?
You've been to a lot of weddings.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of invites to weddings, but I forget which wedding it was, but I was able to meet Levi back at that wedding when he was dating his now widow turned now married to his twin brother of Margaret.
Oh.
We'll get to that later, trust me. It's a
What?
weird story. So when I'm finally meeting up with him, he's telling me about all this whole stuff happened. Then about 5 years ago, when we're both now 16, about how he couldn't talk to me back then, how he was trying to keep a low profile, thought I couldn't be trusted. And I told him a little bit about my life, about all the people that I have quote unquote removed, so no one knows exactly what I did or did not do. about my past relationship with Jade, all the sort of stuff that you need to tell your closest friend in the entire universe. And by the time the whole wedding is done, I get to meet Margaret. And Margaret's a piece of work. Like, the best way I can compare Margaret is to my current friends of today, where on a good day, she's like a mix between Uni and Shannon. She's a bubbly personality that is very heartwarming and will give you a giant plate of the most delicious chocolate chip cookies that transcend milk chocolate and milk inside the cookie. Like, it's like tasting heaven.
So I can't tell if that's you. So I think it's you.
But on a bad day,
That's me.
on a bad day, it's like a mix of, how to put this, let's say it's a majority of Laurel with a dash of, I would say my friend Britt, where she is almost as bad as Levi and Nick when it comes to arson. Like, I've seen her actually go to her sister's school to pick up her niece and nephew, and it was only the principal in the school, she lit the entire school on fire.
That's Laurel.
Anywho, from just now meeting them and being able to reconnect, I'm now finally good with having Levi back in my life, and it's just like all this whole thing, the whole gang's together, we're having fun, we're having big adventures and stuff like that. And it's also about a few years after we've done the whole YouTube thing with me, Julian, Edward, and Nick, blah blah blah. We're all just having a fun time. It's like all the good stuff is gonna keep rolling in, right?
No.
It would have until 3 years later. It was right after my 19th birthday, and Levi and my friend Julian came flying back into America, where Julian was about to present his biggest fashion line by having then up-and-coming fashion icon of Ashley Graham model some of his stuff. And Levi was coming in because he and Margaret, now that they got married at 18 and were having... Well, actually, they already had Jason, and I was already named the Godfather, so they were married when he was 16. Didn't tell me that they were married until that night at the bar and told me I was a godfather. Their son is 4, so he had his son at 15. Yeah, that's about it. Anywho, by the time they're coming into the America, they're like, let's celebrate, let's have some drinks, call up the boys. Which meant calling us all in. And I mean calling in Edward, calling in Magnus, calling in Nick, calling in me, calling in all of the boys.
Oh.
Where we actually went to, and I'm kind of shocked to say this, a custom-made deck for just all of us to have a full-on drinking fest. Why a full-on drinking fest? Why not something more tame? Why anything when you're a guy? And this is where the story kind of gets sad. See, I didn't know this at the time when we were doing this big old party, but Levi was actually diagnosed with liver failure. Full-on liver failure. Where he and drinking were a big no-no.
Yeah, no.
But he wanted to still party. He was just like, pass me them shots, pass me them drinks. And I'm just like,
no.
what?
It might have,
Well, I didn't know.
it might have got.
I didn't know about the
in that
liver
situation.
failure. So it's like, alright, cool, let's keep drinking. And then, I would say 2 days later, Margaret messages all of us on the MSN thing since Julian's apparently been in contact with Levi for years, where I didn't know this until the funeral, but Levi has actually been in contact with all the people I've met to make sure that they kept an eye on me, where he's kept an eye on all of my exploits since I left good old Mother Russia. Anywho, 2 days after the party though, we get an email from Margaret saying that, surprise of surprises, Levi is dead.
Oh. Wait, how did she tell you?
We have an old MSN messenger that we keep on private.
But they she just like text me, yeah, your best friend, yeah, like.
Yeah, it was just like in the middle of the morning. I was supposed to go to work. All of a sudden I hear, yeah, guys, Levi passed away today.
A decent human.
I literally walked into work so broken I had no words.
I don't believe.
Like, Levi knew me back when I was
A mess.
a scrawny, long-haired bastard with no real strength about how to tackle the world and whatnot, to where I am today, a half-crazy, all-emotional, somewhat unbalanced, psychopathic caregiver that you all either love or hate today. Your results may vary.
No.
And throughout the whole entire process, though, for the whole funeral, is when I got to learn everything that Levi has done for me since, like, we were kids. Like, he was the one that got in contact with everyone that has ever known me to then meet up with me. Because he apparently had this idea in his head of, I have a strong feeling that in the future, Vince is going to need all of you since I may not be around forever.
Oh, wow.
And I actually got random MSN messages of video calls saying, your best friend loved you like a brother, man. Where even Margaret bawling her eyes out holding Jason just like, Mommy, is Daddy coming home? He went to the hospital. Is he coming home?
Baby.
That's awful.
And I'm just sitting there seeing all the messages. I'm just crying my eyes out. Like, I don't know how to deal.
I mean, honestly, I feel like crying.
So then time began to move a little bit slower of Margaret trying to find someone to fill the void of her husband. Eventually, though, it was his twin brother of Lex.
That quick?
No, it wasn't really that quick. It was more of a will thing that he told his brother one day, if Margaret were to be alone, I want you to be the one to fill my place. It's a weird arrangement.
Take care of
Yeah,
her.
it's a weird arrangement, but it works for now. So far, I keep hearing messages like, we're not having sex. I'm not disrespecting my brother like that. And I'm like, I don't...
So they're just like friends?
They're married friends.
Question mark? What? Why? Oh.
It's just not consummated, apparently.
Why did they get married if, like,
Uni.
Oh.
Bubby.
I don't understand.
No, Bubby. The more you try to make sense of this, the more your head will hurt, trust me.
But I want to... Why?
Shannon, you know the rule, don't
Yes.
you? Okay.
Yes.
So, aside from that whole thing, from Margaret's perspective, the rest of us have been trying to do stuff in honor of Levi that, honestly, I don't think we would have done unless it was for him. That's why Julian still tries to do even bigger fashion line stuff with more underground clients that will be bigger successes. I don't know what Sophie does in honor of Levi, but unless she gets out of the hospital soon for her postpartum depression, I don't see anything coming of that. Magnus has stopped doing a lot of the whole counterfeit stealing, I'm gonna blame everyone else's shtick for us. He still does it to his clients. He just doesn't do it to us anymore, which makes him more tolerable as a friend. But that's whatever. Edwards kind of devotes most of his time now to, I can't believe I'm saying this, the alchemic formula to do reincarnation and immortality.
Really?
Alright. I mean, everybody has hobbies.
Like,
I guess.
he is so obsessed with just like, I don't want this, I don't want death, no, 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 no. And he has 3 little Hitlers as kids, so I understand his pain.
Oh. But why would he want to live forever?
Because they won't. That's what he literally said when I asked him directly the same question you asked me, because he was like, because they won't.
But that's so dark.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that isn't dark. I'm just saying that's what he said.
So he doesn't like believe in like the
Edward
afterlife?
is agnostic. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And as for myself, we've all seen what I've been doing. I'm trying to make a name for myself the way Levi always wanted me to. Not in blood or in so many violent actions, but in actual creativity.
No, please, no. Good. Creativity is
And
better
since Nick
than
really
all that
didn't
other stuff.
know Levi all that well, he's just trying to be the fill-in closest friend I've ever had in my life, which is why he and his now wife Moira are just always trying to help me out, even if it means going to their own work schedule. But yeah, Levi has been a lasting impression into my whole thing about my whole friendships, how I want to do things in my life, to the point where I don't know if I could or couldn't see myself basically having the life I could have without that close friendship I had from him since childhood. There are many stories I could tell about a person, but when you have a best friend like that, there are no more stories to tell, just keeping on the memory. So anyway, thoughts, questions, concerns about this life story? Let's start with you, Shannon, the easily shook of them all.
I was gonna say, well, first of all, I'm shook. I wasn't expecting a story
Riku,
like that,
would you
I
care
guess.
to unmute to give your whole thoughts, questions, concerns?
If not, you can type it, and I'll read it.
I sees the typing,
It's typing.
and I hear light knocking on the ceiling, so we gotta make sure the fangirls aren't coming in. Oh, we did, but
I
you
locked
know
those
how the
doors hours
fangirls
ago.
are for Riku. We gotta make sure we're doubly prepared. Oh, yes, we are.
We're gonna end up having to move.
I'm terrified.
Scared.
Well, Riku says, well, shit, man. That's rough. Got tears, man.
And
Yeah.
then a sad crying
And now
little
for
face.
the bubbies. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
Well, first, I am sorry for your loss. And I'm sorry that, but I'm glad you still can live in
Oh, Discord. Anywho. Let's see here. I've done all the stories. Well, you guys won't hear most of them because I had to delete some because someone wanted to be a little bitch and say, you can't post these real life stories of your life. And I'm like, well, fuck you, Alex. So, I guess since all this is done, this is the final story time with Vince. It's now just gonna be casual talks from here on out. So anyway, I would like to thank the people that came in for this series finale of It's a Shannon. The Bobby Yoni. And the always classical Mr. Steal Your Girl Riku. Where after we are done recording this, we're gonna have to escape in about 5 minutes because I think all those fangirls are gonna come crashing in about 5 minutes.
Screaming, busting the windows down.
So guys, let's get the fuck out of here. I'll see you guys in my next shit. Let's seriously get the fuck out of here. Open the latch, Shannon.
And go.
And now, why don't we calm down?